Sometimes it's not about doing more, it's actually about doing less, taking a step back, looking at the full business and deciding exactly what to change. So in your case, niching down would mean that you would have to do the same thing on your YouTube and on your ads. So you would only speak to this specific avatar in your content and in your funnels. And then I would also argue that you could charge more, increase your prices from 9K to 15K just because you're helping one specific avatar, which means they would be more willing to work with you either way. This is the 7-step sales process that makes you close like crazy. And the one thing that would change your sales drastically is actually challenging them halfway through the call. So why aren't they hitting the goal that they already want to hit? So in your case, capacity is a problem. So my question to you was like, why can't you just spend more on ads? Why can't you just post more YouTube videos? And the clear answer to that was you can't take on more clients. That is the first thing we need to solve. So in this video, we're gonna break down Scott's AI marketing business. And my name is Maher, and I help consult a portfolio of businesses generating hundreds of thousands of dollars each month. So I feel very confident in potentially helping you scale.
Awesome.
So let's break down your business. And I usually use these 7 questions to figure out what's actually lacking so we can work on it.
Okay.
So business overview. So what are the numbers, profit margins?
Yeah, so I'm doing roughly 20,000 USD a month. Profit margins are about 75%. My overhead comes from software costs, ad spend, and then video editing fees for my Instagram and YouTube videos.
Oh, that's sick. And you're running on 75%.
Yep.
After all expenses. Interesting. I have a thought. Okay, so what's the goal with the business? Where do you want to take this?
The goal within the next year is to take it to like 50K a month.
50K per month. I like to always ask why, because even if we know the goal, if we don't know what the why, then we make less.
Well, I suppose like the moral why. So I'm doing this with my brother. He works under me. He's kind of the artistic side of things as far as building out the design flow of the funnels. So, you know, I'd say not only working to make myself financially free, but also for him as well.
Sick. Cool. All right. Who do you help?
I help online service providers, specifically ones that are selling high ticket offers.
What do you consider high ticket?
Anything above $2,000.
Anything above 2,000. Do you have a limit on how high ticket it could be?
The higher the better.
All right. And they provide an online service.
Yeah, and the reason I say the higher the better is because that gives us more buying power on ads to go after our clients.
Sick. Love it. All right. How do you find these people?
Right now, my primary source of getting clients is through meta ads on Facebook and Instagram. I'm getting about 75%, we'll call it, of my traffic through paid ads. And then the other quarter comes directly from YouTube organic. I post like 2 to 3 videos, YouTube videos, long form a week, just going over basic tutorials, marketing strategies, and it brings in leads once they see that I'm a subject matter expert in building out funnels. And then I also do AI integration work, doing AI appointment setters on all messaging channels, dialers, SMS, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. So it's an entire encompassing sales fulfillment system powered by AI.
Okay. And how do you make money? Packaging, prices? They have one offer or multiple offers?
So it's one offer. I used to kind of try to be a jack of all trades, but it just ended up being way too much work for myself. So I honed in. So the offer is I'll get you 10 new high ticket clients within the next 90 days of working with me. And if I don't satisfy that, I keep working with you at no extra cost until I get you there. And as far as pricing goes, it's a $9,000 package. And since it's over 90 days, I offer a payment plan, $3K a month. Or if they pay in full, I give a little bit of a discount and it'll be 7.5K up front. The reason I do that is because that gives me more buying power to go after my next client.
I love that you're already pricing yourself as a high ticket service, that you're charging 9K for 3 months. You could definitely increase it, but that in itself is allowing you to make 20K as a solo entrepreneur, and like you're just working with your brother, so less overhead, more money, higher profits. That's something that I usually have to tell people to do, to raise their prices. Maybe we will do the same. We will have to see, but
All right.
That's a good indicator. That's why you're making so much money. All right. We already went through how you make money. How many clients do you have?
Right now, I'm actively doing build and release offers for 4 clients, but then I have passive clients on monthly retainers, and that's kind of the back end. That's
So
kind
what's
of
the amount of clients in total?
I think
An estimate, yeah.
I 8 right now.
8 right
8
now.
total clients. And so, the front offer is, the build and release. And the way I explain it, it's like, hey, after these 90 days, you're going to have a full encompassing marketing system you can take with you month after month. But, what ends up happening is it's awfully complex. So there is a lot of value in keeping me around to do continued maintenance. And then another amenity that I offer is upgrades, especially with the changing times of AI. Anytime a new feature comes out or, I may discover a discrepancy in the build and I can go in and patch it, all my monthly recurring clients will subsequently get all those patches.
How much do you charge for the monthly after the 90
So
days?
that's variable based on the scope of work that they require from me. Some people, it's very passive. They just want upgrade work and then it'll be like $1,000 a month. But if they want continued hands-on, basically me being a team member, coming up with new ideas, doing new builds consistently, like I have one client and I'm charging $3,000 a month consistently because it's a lot more hands-on.
Okay, sick. All right, okay. How many new clients would you say that you're onboarding right now per month?
Right now, I'm honestly dealing with a capacity issue, if anything, and that's something that I'm looking into as far as onboarding team members to help me with the sales fulfillment process. To help me with the client delivery process.
Okay, yeah, I was about to ask.
Yeah, to help me with the client delivery process. So I'm doing about, on average, 3 is a very comfortable number for me to get done in a given month. Right now I'm doing 4 and I'm honestly slammed. So yeah, I've been pulling a lot of 60-hour weeks recently.
Okay. Yeah, that answers some of my questions. Currently making 15K per month and he wants to scale 60 and 70K months. And if you want to learn exactly how to ask the right questions to identify your biggest bottlenecks, but more importantly, come up with the right solutions, which is what you're about to watch, then I want you to click the first link in the description because I'm teaching you my full framework that is allowing me to think and ask the right questions, but also to think and come up with the right solutions. So click the first link in the description and start learning the Monopoly Growth Framework. Now let's get back to the video and see how we're going to scale business to 70K months. We're soon there, so what would you say your main problem is? So what is the main thing holding you back from scaling to 50K a month?
The main thing that's holding me back from scaling is that I'm the solo developer. And I feel like hold a bit of, I know that I'm an expert in this and it's hard for me to trust someone else to be better than me. And so far, as far as building out the AIs, I pride myself in doing them custom. So it really does feel like it's the business owner or, a sales rep behind the scenes. I don't want leads to know that it's an AI because that usually hurts sales rapport. So I make it seem like it's a human they're talking to and they're usually more inclined to get on a sales call. Or if we're doing like a post-booking AI, they're more inclined to have accountability because they thought they agreed with a real person that they're actually going to show up to the sales call.
So you mean that you're putting a lot of time into building the AI to make it so good that it feels like a human and therefore you're working so much to build these AIs?
Yeah, it's a bit of an art form. And part of it's also that, give it a year or two, AI is going to get even smarter. So that problem may end up diminishing. But as of right now, the biggest bottleneck or the biggest time constraint is doing the grunt work of prompting these AIs to do exactly what we need it to. Because I also need to do a deep dive into their business model, then turn around and train an AI on that exact business model.
Okay. Do you jump on a one-on-one call with them to break down the business?
Yes.
And then you take notes and then you teach the AI what you just learned yourself?
Exactly. And so I've started to try to streamline that. So I use Fathom AI for all my sales calls now and all my internal calls. So I at least have a note taker for me, so I'm not having to waste time on that. But again, AI is still probably a couple years off from being fully capable of understanding human impressions and conversation. They're still very robotic and they only understand things at face value. So what I often have to do, I call it stress testing. So many phases of poking holes at the AI. The benefit of using an AI model compared to a traditional human appointment setter, once these holes are plugged, it's flawless in the sense that it's never going to make that same mistake twice as long as I trained it not to.
Got it. So if you would hypothetically have infinite amount of potential clients, how many would you be able to onboard, if so?
If I really dedicated myself and essentially had no life, I could probably do 10 in a given month, but I'd be sacrificing my happiness for that. And that's really why the next stage, I need to find some AI devs that are smarter than me. And I'm happy to pay a pretty penny for that, I wouldn't want to undercut someone or sucker them out of money. If they're actually going to bring that to the table, I'm willing to cut them a big chunk of change to help me out.
Okay. All right. I think I have a bunch of information. We can start breaking your business down.
Okay.
Ready? All right. I have some questions. We will start actually talk about the people you help. So you mentioned that you help online service providers selling high ticket, anything from 2K.
Yeah, and see,
Just a sec. So it's very broad. It's fine if this is the question that I want to ask you. Does your fulfillment change? So, for example, if you only help sales coaches selling high ticket one-on-one sales coaching scale, would you spend less time on your fulfillment?
definitely.
Definitely. Why?
Because as far as the structure of training the AIs, it'd be a lot more plug and play rather than a complete redesign. And, honestly, that's something I've even been trying to consider. But, money is money. So honestly, right now, if someone's wanting to work with me, I've got capacity. I've been taking it on, but I definitely want to talk about today or entertain the idea of honing in on an ICP, because that would definitely make my service delivery a lot faster, because, I've already got a lot of the groundwork already set. I'm not having
Maybe
to
argue
reinvent
would
it.
even be better.
It would be better, 100%.
Maybe deliver better results for these specific people.
Yes.
All right, sick. So my question to you would be, which clients have you worked with this far that you already enjoy working with the most / you have delivered the best results for?
See, it's funny because they're like in completely different fields. Like one's for like a brick and mortar business for an actual gym, in which we were doing just dialers, picking up phone calls, doing cold calls. But see, for me, I call them golden clients, and they're clients I like to work with. But it usually just boils down to them, not hounding me or letting me have my space to do what I do, and not trying to, not having too many cooks in the kitchen, rather. And another client, a golden client that I really like is this pharmaceutical company. They do low ticket e-commerce products, but then they also have a high ticket offer in which they'll promote leads to a sales call, and then I help promote them onto the sales call using AI appointment setters, warming them, and then I also built out their back-end funnels. And the whole point there is to get these leads on a sales call and then upsell them onto a 6-month or year plan in which they do a holistic approach.
Would it still help your fulfillment? So would help, make it faster if you focused on a specific size of business. So only businesses with 10 to 50 employees. Would that, even if it's like one is a gym, one is a pharmaceutical business, would that help your fulfillment, or would it still require the same amount of effort for you?
It's so hard to give that a straight answer, because some teams are absolute chaos, right? And I'll even come into some businesses and realize that a lot of these people are doing very micro jobs, and I'm like, you guys are paying full time because you guys are paying these people full time, and it doesn't even seem like they're really doing that much, whereas one person could do this. Other businesses, everyone's got their own wheelhouse. It definitely varies.
Okay, so that wouldn't actually help. So we could do two things. Because right now you actually have a capacity issue. You can't even take on more clients, even if you would like. Even if you had the cheapest call to book, cost per application, or it doesn't matter. You can't take on more than 4, right?
Yeah.
So we need to solve that. Either we work with higher paying clients, or clients that pay you 10K to just start out, like the first month they pay you 10K, and then you would onboard 4 or 5 of them, you would be at 50K. Or you would niche down on people like one niche, for example, coaches, or even like sales coaches, or just fitness coaches, or like exclusively consultants, for example, like one niche of service-based businesses. And then you could even go one layer further and be like, only consultants make an X amount of money plus, you know what I mean? And then only work with these type of people, because your fulfillment, like how much, so if you're already if you can only take on 4 people, 4 clients, and imagine, let's say you're working with one type of client, how many more would you be able to take on? Is it just one more, or is it double the amount?
Literally double. Literally double.
There you go.
I think, maybe it's a targeting issue. I haven't really ever tried to target a specific audience. And I think, and again, I haven't tested the water, so that's on me. I think my worry was that I would waste money on ad spend because right now, I've at least had consistent call booking. So it's been like if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of thing.
Okay. I get it. Because one of my questions would be, you have 75% profit margin. So that was one of the first things that I wrote down. Why don't you just spend more on ads? But you have already answered that question. You can't take on more people.
Yeah.
So you have something that is broken that you need to fix. And sometimes it's not the marketing. Sometimes it's the back end stuff. So the offer, the targeting, whoever we're speaking to. And actually, this is funny. So when you are more specific about the person you're speaking to, you get those people. What I mean is you have cheaper leads, you have cheaper cost per calls because you're speaking to this person only, and that's where the ads are being shown to. So I can give you an example. When I was running ads for my own agency targeting martial arts gyms in Sweden, this was literally my call out. So you're a gym owner with at least 2 employees, you have your own location and you're willing to take on 100 to 200 new members this coming year, then my ad starts. That's my call out. And I didn't get a bunch of leads, but the leads that I got were qualified. And my ROI on that campaign was in the 30s, my boss. So it's just insane. And I was targeting a whole country, but only hundreds of, just a couple of hundreds of these people would actually be the right people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
My question to you would actually be, why don't you niche down? What do you feel is holding you back from niching down, picking one person, double down on your fulfillment for this type of people, and take on more?
So I personally feel like I haven't worked with any specific niche yet that I liked, and I'd be willing to work exclusively with them. My biggest background experience as far as the most clients that had similar industries has been online fitness coaches, but I found they've been the hardest to deliver for. We're unfortunately in a time now where a lot of kids think they have what it takes to be a fitness coach, and they just started up and it washed the industry. It's a lot more competitive now. So from a marketing standpoint, it was not that enjoyable because I had to put forth so much effort for a system for, let's say, a real estate coach. It would sell like hotcakes.
Okay. I was about to start speaking Swedish with you. Right, got it. What we could do in this case is we could experiment. So you would literally be like, let's do it. Name 3 type of businesses that you would enjoy working with the most. You mentioned a real estate coach.
Yeah, real estate coach, 100%.
Okay. It's your imagination. You can pick your 3 favorite ones.
A trading coach, like stock trading, crypto trading. And notice the theme is things that are directly tied to others making money, because they can sell disgustingly high ticket packages.
B2B, B2C.
So these 2 are B2C, but I do actually want to throw a B2B one on there. See, some of my clients are other marketing agencies, and I kind of just but I don't know. I don't like working with them long term.
I would actually say that we have already...
Tax advisors.
So consultant. Yeah, tax.
Yeah, notice the theme is anyone that has just a high ticket service that they're selling online that's directly related to other people being able to make money, or in the case of tax consultants, saving money.
All right. I have one last question before we can pick one. If let's say these have so many similarities, you just mentioned them, would that help your fulfillment? So you're selling something online, it's high ticket, and it's B2C, and you're helping someone make more money. That's your offer. Would that help you more with your fulfillment, or is that still the same thing?
I think it would help in the fulfillment in the sense that even I would be more personally motivated because the offers are so attractive to package for something like this building an AI is a lot easier because you're able to train AIs to speak on the results or potential financial gain that they could receive from joining. And then as far as setting up the actual funnel, especially if they already have testimonials, that's just a slam dunk, because people are usually at least down to test the waters and get on a sales call if they think it could be a move for them to make money themselves or save money.
Okay, so would you be able to take on more than 4 clients then?
In this scenario where like these 3 or one of the 3 is my ICP, yes. And I say that because let's say you're a real estate coach, I work with you for the first time. It's going to take a lot of work for me to set that up. But now that it's set up, the next real estate coach, I copy and paste you. Obviously there's some customizations, but every coach after, assuming they're in the same niche, is going to be a lot more efficient to implement on.
All right, sick. We have it. I would actually, we could do that. Build out 3 different, so the same funnel, but copy and paste the funnel, and then copy and paste the ads, call out different people in the targeting, try running one for these guys, one for these guys, one for these guys. You will see the data. It will tell you which one to choose. You will be able to test it and see which you enjoy working with the most, who you deliver the best results for, and then go even further and be like, let's say if it is trading coaches, then you pick trading coaches exclusively. And I could argue there are hundreds of trading coaches in the US alone, if not thousands. And now I'm not talking about other countries like UK or any like France, whatever. So the market is big enough. You don't have a market issue like capacity. This in itself would allow you to charge more because you're niching down. He would be like, oh, he only helps trading coaches. This is for me. It makes sense to pay him 15K instead of paying this other guy 10K because this guy has a solution tailored for me. Does that make sense? So you'll even be able to charge more while also working with more people, while also working less. Do you see the...
I'm following.
Yeah? Do you feel like you would feel comfortable doing that? Like trying the niches out?
Not only would I feel comfortable, but I would also feel a little more relieved because... obviously I'm confident in my own ability, but if I'm taking a crack at a new business model, for a second there, it's going to be a bit of a shot in the dark until we test the market, see what's working, what's not, how we need to change. But assuming I've, delivered for several different clients within that same niche, I'm not going to be worried at all about delivering for this next guy. It's going to be easier for me and it's going to be more comfortable for me.
All right. There you go.
Bang.
All right. We can do this. All right, niche down. So this answers the question why you're not spending more. Because you are profitable. So you could just spend more on ads. If you have ads working, you're telling me you're already booking calls. You have qualified people jumping on the calls, you're closing them. Just spend more. But you haven't been able to spend more because you can't even take on more clients.
Yeah.
So fix this. This will allow you to spend more. And this alone could take you to 50K. If we just cut the full thing here and you only do this, you would be able to make 50K. But obviously we won't stop there.
Yeah.
All right. Ads mostly, more YouTube, more. Oh, that was actually the same question. So why don't you just do more of the YouTube? Why don't you do more of the ads?
Perfect. Good question. So I've been really pushing YouTube because I'm getting really great organic traction from it. And again, it just all goes back to the time issue. I'm so slammed with capacity that, if I focus too much on YouTube and maybe try to get out a 3rd or 4th video in a given week, I'm having to sacrifice client delivery. And, if I try to do both, okay, I'm going to get out 3 YouTube videos and I'm going to go balls to the wall on client delivery. But then I sacrifice going to the gym that week, or I sacrifice hanging with my friends, or, just basic happiness shit.
Who needs that? No, just that,
you need a balance. And I think more recently, talking about this capacity thing, my biggest issue is that I'm often sacrificing my happiness and I'm telling myself, oh, I'm young. Oh, I'll be happy later. But, it gets miserable for sure. And from a morale standpoint, then you start to question shit. I'm not quitting. I'm not going anywhere. I'll die trying. But I'd at least like to be happy while I'm dying trying, right?
I agree. I actually always preach about building businesses we enjoy running and not businesses we're trapped in, because what's the point? We built a business to be able yes.
Would you say it's a limiting belief, maybe the fact that you're thinking no one can do it as good as I can?
I think it's definitely a bit of me being controlling for sure. And I'm like, it's hard for someone to come in to my business and then be like, oh yeah, I can do this better when I already know what works from an automation standpoint. It's definitely worth a shot. And see, I've never even allowed anyone to jump in with my builds before.
We will definitely talk about hiring, see if that is an opportunity. So I know that you also have a 9 to 5 still. What's the plan there? What are you thinking?
So, this business is the escape plan, as I like to call it. But, as far as priorities go, and I know this may go against what a lot of, entrepreneurs kind of think about, or principles as far as taking that risk. But, I'm 24. I have my own place. I have to do my own health insurance. I've got my own car note. So I've got a lot on my plate, and that is like the stable cash that always comes in. I'm getting $3,000 every 2 weeks. And, even going back to the capacity thing, I'm honestly incorporating this into the capacity issue. And assuming I would be able to solve the problem with streamlining the clients in the business, getting more clients, then this can go away. But I've got the bottleneck with capacity here, so I need this because this keeps me afloat, and it makes it so all the profits that I make from here, I can dump back into the business or put into savings to put in the business at a later date.
Okay, just to make sure I understood it correctly, when you said you make 20K a month, is it exclusively from the business and then not included this?
Yeah.
All right, so this is like...
This covers living expenses, insurance, car shit, rent, everything.
All right, and then you have
food.
Okay. Got you. All right. Because what I'm thinking... How many hours are you working? Is it a full-time 40-hour week thing? Yeah.
Full-time, but I work remote, so...
Okay. What I'm thinking is, this is up to you, how risky you want to be. You already have a winning thing, just so you know. You're already making money. You're making 20K a month, and you have something already winning. You could literally just save yourself for 80 hours a month and just spend more, you would get more clients. You have a winning funnel like here in front of you without changing anything, basically. So this is just a decision for you to make. I'm not going to tell you what to do here. I'm just putting it out there. All right, let's not talk more about this, about the 9 to 5 is fine. Alrighty, we can talk about the offer actually. Now when I thought about all the work that you're doing, you're charging 9K for 3 months. That's basically a 3K retainer for a month. Still too cheap for the work that you're doing. You're literally building out a guy, an AI, it's like an employee, who will be able to answer all the questions and help you book calls. And then you have the affordable like retainer after the 3 months. So the affordable retainer after the 3 months makes sense. So you could do two things. Either you increase that one or you increase your upfront investment.
Okay.
Because if you're putting in that amount of work already for just to onboard a single client that you can't onboard more than 4, then it's so justifiable for you to increase this is your sign of increasing your price. And it doesn't have to be 9K. It's just like, it's a setup fee, it's 5K a month the first 3 months, and then we go down to 1.5. That in itself would make you more money. You would maybe close less, but you can just post one more YouTube video. You could just increase ad spend with like $500. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what do you feel like is holding you back from increasing your price? Just...
Honestly, I feel like, this is... Thinking about it, I think it's sales at this point. It's probably the delivery in which I'm explaining it isn't sufficient enough to explain how elaborate things really get.
Okay.
So I think this now just becomes a sales call thing, because there are competitors in this niche that are charging $15,000 for the similar build, if not an inferior version. I could even argue. But they're able to get away with that because they're a bit more of an authority in the space as far as they have more views, they have more subscribers. So I guess my question to you is, how could I charge more with, I have like 400 subs, right? So I need to go solely based off my own competency So, you know,
Okay.
an issue I've been facing is either I'll knowledge dump people and they just don't understand, or I try to not knowledge dump people and then they don't understand the scope and think it's some ragtag thing.
All right. This is something you can do. Just post more social proof. So on your YouTube, for example, post a bunch of YouTube videos of you breaking down the past clients that you've already had and they've found success with your thing. Do you already do that?
Yeah.
All right. So,
I've started, but I could always do more.
okay. More just social proof. So you could always have them. You could send them to everyone who books a call, everyone who opts in your funnel, and be like, watch this video. Watch this video of how this client added 50K to their revenue or whatever, you know? So more social proof. But also, let's talk about sales. Do you want to tell me about your sales process? Amount of sales calls, what do you do? How long are they?
Sales
What happens
calls.
before the call?
Yeah, so usually within the first 15 minutes, I can tell if they're actually interested or if they're window shopping. Assuming they're actually interested, sales calls are usually like an hour long. And I have like a Miro board
And
that
it's one sales call.
one sales call. I'll do follow-ups as needed, but typically I'm able to lock and load them off one sales call, hour-long one. But I have a pretty intensive VSL that takes place prior, and that does a lot of the pre-qualification for me. And then any lead that does book in a call, I send them a cancellation link and tell them if they're not serious about this, go ahead and cancel now, because we only take on a few clients a month to be able to actually deliver on our 10 client guarantee within 90 days of working with us. So assuming they watched the VSL, they know a good amount about what's going on. And then, you know, I screen share and I go in, I show them the back end, I show them what's going on, I show them some conversation flows. I've got like a Miro board structure as well that kind of shows some automation flows.
Okay, gotcha. All right, there are some things we could tweak there. This is the sales process that I follow. This is the sales process that I've closed literally hundreds of sales calls, B2C, B2B, it doesn't matter, it works. Either way. So you're already pre-qualifying them a lot. So you're jumping on calls with qualified people. It's a good thing. Nothing bad about it. So let's just talk exclusively about the sales call itself. You mentioned you're sharing your screen, Miro board and stuff. So what you're doing is you're teaching. So let's run through the sales process and you can let me know what you're doing and not doing right now.
Sure.
So the intro and the framing, how I like to do it is just like, all right, Scott, we have 30 minutes set aside for this call. What I'm going to do is see how I can help you implement AI marketing system that you watched about in the VSL. And in the first 15 minutes, if I notice that I can't help you, then I will let you know and we'll end the call then. Does that make sense? Yes. And then you jump into the call. Do you have some type of intro/framing? Because this positions you as the expert. So I'm controlling the call. This is the agenda.
Yeah.
I'm not here to ask you about the weather, how you doing, where are you based, whatever. Got that.
Okay. Honestly, I like the way you delivered on, you know, explaining that just now. What I do is, and I hate small talk. I don't know why I do it, but I always, oh, where are you based? Oh,
do you
cool.
ask-
Act like I give a damn, you know?
yeah.
So I do that for like a minute or two. And then, you know, before even talking anything about my service, I ask as many questions as I can about what they've tried before, what they're currently doing, why it's not working, you know, ticket prices, streams of getting leads, things like that.
Okay.
And then after I've got that scope, it allows me to screen share and then customize or custom tailor my delivery of how I'm going to propose the pitch to exactly what they were looking for or their shortcomings they may have been having. That's how I go about it.
Okay, sick. If you're still watching this, then I want to teach you the Monopoly Growth Framework. So I want you to click on the first link in the description and join the Monopoly Circle where I teach the Monopoly Growth Framework for free. And you will be able to implement it in the same way, but for your own specific business. And because you're still watching, it means that you're one of the most dedicated people out there right now to actually implement what they're learning. And this is the type of people I want in there, and this is the type of people that I would potentially like to work with. So click the first link in the description and join the Monopoly Circle now for free. So first of all, cut the small talk. Even if you care, they will never believe that you care. That's just how it is. They will be like, he's a salesperson, he's trying to make me like him. And it decreases, like it lowers your authority basically. So you're already asking about their current situation, what they're doing, what they're struggling with, and where they want to go, I guess. Like what's the thing they want to solve and why. And this is also like extremely important. So why do we men get a haircut? It's not just about cutting our hair. It's about how we look. We want to be able to be perceived as this specific person, or we're going on a date, we want to look good, or we're like going on a specific event, we want to, it's not about just cutting the hair. So why do you want to do that? And why do you want to feel confident? Well, because I want to be able to hold up this presentation. And what is so important about this presentation? Well, it's because this will dictate if I become the president or not, And then you can sell the haircut for 5K because it's so there is so much value. But if you never ask the why, then you're just going to sell it for $30. So just asking like why, in itself will help you just present the offer easier. This is, I guess, the most important part is they've tried a bunch of stuff. That is a good sign because it means like at least they're trying. So they have less limiting beliefs than someone who hasn't tried anything. If someone is like, no, I've never tried any marketing, that's a red flag. Like, oh, you're telling me you want to acquire more leads, but you have never tried anything. How come? That's something we need to like challenge. We need to understand why you haven't tried. But if they have tried, and it's just like, okay, so you have tried building landing pages yourself, all right? I know a bunch of people who have built landing pages themselves. How come you didn't, I know a bunch of people who make it work. Why didn't you make it work? Don't say with that tone, just be like, do you feel like there are other people out there who have managed to build landing pages themselves and book a bunch of calls themselves? Yeah, right. So why do you feel like why do you feel like that didn't work for you? And then he will either blame it on other stuff. So like, yeah, my market is shit. And if he keeps blaming it on other stuff, you need to keep asking the question. So do you feel like there are others who are also in a very competitive markets, but still manage to make their landing pages work? Yeah, I guess. All right, so why do you feel like you're not able to make your landing page work in a competitive market? And then we'll be like, maybe I didn't try enough. Maybe I didn't spend enough. Maybe I didn't split test enough. Now he's blaming himself. And that's a good thing because then you can actually pitch him the offer and be like, now you don't have this anymore. So, I mean, you're breaking you're taking away the thing that's been stopping him. And then you can pitch your service and it's like, there is nothing you can say anymore, So usually, either you end the call here because you're just not breaking his beliefs. There is no point of even pitching. If you pitch after this and he just keeps blaming external factors, it's like you just hoping he will say yes after your pitch.
Yeah.
But if you actually break this belief, 80-90% of the time, he will say yes when you pitch. So it's just about. So you need also to track like how many times are you asking for the close. So you jump on 10 sales calls, but you ask for the close only 5 times, and then out of those 5 you close 4. It's different than.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't even track obviously I'm tracking the sales call at face value, but I'm not tracking like what goes on within it by any means. So that's even another thing I got to consider.
Okay. So we don't need to overcomplicate the sales call in itself. You're already doing like most of it correctly and good enough. What you could just do here is challenge them, ask them why they haven't made it work yet on their own. Other people are made it work on their own. So how come you didn't make it on your own? Or whatever they're saying. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
All right. And then we can just future paste them and consequence question them. So like, what happens if you don't fix your market in the coming 12 months? Oh, I would have no leads. And what would that be? And then you pitch your service. You can share your screen if that's working for you already. Just keep doing it. Or else I might argue that you don't even need to do that.
What I'm doing now, I share my screen and I have basically a spreadsheet, and it's just a list of deliverables, and next to it it's like done for you, done for you, done for you, done with you, done for you. So it'll be like run your ads, build out your funnels, set up your data collection for email and phone number, and then off that set up AI appointment setters to go after them for email, phone number, and then social media as well if that's in scope.
All right.
And then so I'll show that, and then after the timeline of how all that takes place. and that's within 90 days.
That's amazing. A lot of people miss out on the timeline, so it makes it more digestible for this person. All right. Challenge. I actually don't think that you need to change a lot of things. Like sometimes it's not about doing more, making it more complex. The answers are here. It's not that complicated. We just need to be able to zoom out and be like, this is the one thing that will take me to 50K a month. Like, and in your case, this is my summary. Like niche down, pick one of these, try them out. And then you can increase your price after you have niche down and be like, I'm only exclusively helping trading coaches. You'll be able to, you said it yourself, other people are doing the same, if not even
inferior.
And charging more. And if you're helping trading coaches, for example, specifically, and you're already delivering results, you will feel more confident even to increase your price. You'll be like, 15K, here we go, you know? And they will be able to pay you because 15K, if they're charging 5K, that's only 3 clients. Do you feel like you're able to give them 3 clients?
Oh yeah.
Right? And then challenge more in your sales calls. Like this thing alone could take it to 50K. This will definitely help you take it to 50K. And this will definitely increase your sales by, let's say, 50%. That's just so if you, what's your close rate right now? Do you know?
So when you, how do I put this? So including per qualified call, including no shows, we're looking at like 40%. But of people that are actually showing up to the call, we're looking at like 60%, 65%, assuming they actually show up. Right. Okay. And then as far as unqualified leads, I pretty much buff that out with a strict qualification process. But with that comes more expensive ads.
Okay, your close rate's already high. I guess it's because of all your pre-qualifying stuff. So if you become better at sales, you would even argue for like jumping on more sales calls and closing more people by making it easier. But you don't have to do that.
No, and even with this, like niching down, stripping away the business benefit, it would also just make me happier if I had significantly less, grunt work to do, because service delivery is a lot more streamlined because it's the same build, just rinse and repeat with a few customizations to tailor it to that specific business.
And that in itself, this is very important. If you're speaking only to trading coaches, that would be the same thing on your, where's your YouTube? On your YouTube, you'd be like trading coaches, Same
thing on ads as well.
Same thing on ads, same thing in your funnels, your headlines, your call outs.
Complete congruency all the way through.
Exactly. And that would cut your lead costs. It would cut your cost per application, your cost per acquisition. Everything would just go down and your profit will increase.
All right.
Leo, do you have a question?
If you work with the same niche, right, wouldn't you then have a conflict of interest when it comes to foreign clients? How does that work?
Very good question. Do you have an answer for that?
So if it's something like real estate, I would never be worried about that just because you could target location very easily. Trading definitely gets a little bit more of a gray area for sure. But at the same time, as Maher said earlier, there's hundreds, thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds, thousands of traders out there to where if I'm working with a couple of them, it's really not going to impact the market that much.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. That was the setup. Do you feel confident in this? Do you feel like...
Indeed. Right? I appreciate it.
Let's do the ghetto handshake. All right. Thank you guys for watching and see you in the next one.